In Module 6, Lesson 4, we're going to talk about reflecting and growing through this process. We need to be giving students opportunities to fail. It's critically important that students understand that school is a safe place where they can fail and get back up and keep trying. So often we associate failing with a grade instead of associating it with feedback. Maybe my idea didn't work. Maybe my group is struggling to make things come together. There are so many opportunities, and we need to engineer a little bit of failure for students so that they can see, how do I pick myself back up from that? How do I move forward and keep refining and testing my solution and making it better? Some of the biggest things that I've learned in my life have not been through my successes, but they've been through failures. We need to teach students that they are resilient. They can fail and do better and better. We develop a little bit of grit within our students. This is really important, and it's one of the things that I love most about the challenges is that it builds those opportunities for failure in a very safe environment so students feel comfortable taking risks. And when they're pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone, that's where the learning takes place. We also need to look at feedback. Remember that feedback needs to be constant through this process. Teachers are not going to be busy working on lesson plans for these challenges. The challenges build themselves. Each day that students come in, they'll have an opportunity to really dig in with their group and work on the solutions to these problems. Teachers then, their role shifts to that of facilitator. And in that, you can walk around to your student groups, you can be giving feedback, you ask students to give feedback to one another, you teach about the feedback process, you stop along the way. Maybe during a challenge that's going to go on for 4 weeks, you stop after the first week and say, where are we? And you have class discussions. And then maybe after 2 weeks, they're able to kind of present what they have so far and get feedback from the class or from the group. Ask them to get feedback from their peers, feedback from teachers, and feedback from their partners in this challenge. Remember, if we've developed partnerships in these challenges, make sure that you are defining what it is that your audience wants, that your client needs. So make sure that they're getting feedback from that person or those people through the course of this. Feedback is extremely important so that we don't get to the end and somehow we've missed the focus. Assessment is very important too. And when we ask students to reflect and we're assessing how they're growing, we're looking at all of that together. If you ask a student, what did you learn from this? What went well? What would you have done differently? And student reflections are critical so that when students understand what skills they need and what skills they need to grow in, they'll understand how they can be better and put those skills into use for the next challenge. Something I like to do with my students at the end is tell me what tech skills you learned through the course of this challenge. What skills of your own have you looked at or have you grown in? And where are your areas of growth for the next challenge? Maybe you've realized that you thought leadership was telling people what to do. And you need to work on becoming a better leader by inspiring those people in your group instead of telling them what to do. Maybe your growth needs to happen in being a better group member. Maybe you weren't very engaged. How do you teach students to look at where they kind of failed through the course of this project and how they take those skills that they need and they make that a goal for their next project? So this is a great way to track student growth over the course of a year or several years as they're in school. And then students will be able to, if this is an ongoing conversation from kindergarten through 12th grade, students will really understand how their own personal contributions to a group can impact that and how they work with others, and it helps them become a better group member and really empathize with people who who they work with. Okay, I need to pick these people in my group, this type of person in my group, because I know I need someone who complements how I work. So when we allow students the opportunity to reflect, then we allow students to see what needs to be improved so that growth continues to happen through that child's school. Growth through failure, through assessment, through feedback, and through reflection is incredibly important to students so that they can start to define what they themselves need to work on. And that can be technology, that can be social emotional skills, that can be critical and creative thinking, that can be empathizing with others. Let students try to define what they need to work on and the growth that needs to happen within themselves in order to become a better and more productive global citizen.